What if the people we love never truly leave us? What if the walls that sheltered their lives hold on to more than just memories? For years, my family has whispered about strange happenings inside our home. At first, I dismissed them. Creaks, drafts, tricks of the mind. But over time, the truth became harder to deny. My grandfather's spirit might still be here. He died in this house. Peacefully, they said. He was a stubborn man, bound to these walls as much as he was bound to us. The kind of grandfather who always had advice, always had a story, and always had the last word. But death, it seems, didn't silence him completely. This is the story of my home, my family, and the ghost that refuses to leave. My grandfather built this house with his own hands in the 1950s. Every beam, every wall was touched by him. He called it his castle, his refuge. To us, it was simply home. You could feel his presence in every corner. The old leather chair he refused to replace, the ticking of the grandfather clock he wound every Sunday, and the pipe smoke that lingered even after he was gone. He was a man of routines. Coffee at exactly 6 a.m. Radio turned to the same station. A heavy cough that echoed through the hallways every winter. Even after he passed, those habits were etched into the fabric of the house. So much so that sometimes we swore we could still hear them. Maybe that's why none of us left. Maybe that's why the house never felt empty. It began with whispers. Not voices, not words, just a sense. A creak on the stairs when no one was there. A door slowly opening, as if pushed by an unseen hand. The smell of tobacco drifting through the hall at night. Small things, easy to dismiss, but always familiar. I told myself it was the house settling, drafts, imagination. But when you smell your grandfather's pipe smoke in a room where no one smokes, you begin to wonder. My mother brushed it off with a nervous smile. My father never spoke of it, but we all felt it. It wasn't haunting at first. It was a presence, a reminder, a whisper of someone we loved. Then came the escalation. Doors didn't just creak. They slammed. Footsteps echoed across the upstairs hallway at night, steady, measured, like his nightly walks before bed. One night, the kitchen light flicked on at 3 a.m. I walked downstairs and found the old teacup he used to drink from placed neatly on the table. It hadn't been touched in years. I picked it up. It was warm. That was the first time I stopped laughing off the whispers. That was the first time I accepted something we didn't understand was still here. The night it changed from maybe to I know was ordinary, the kind of Tuesday you forget. I was halfway up the stairs when the house breathed, and the sound of footsteps began above me. Heavy, deliberate. The exact pace my grandfather took when he did his last lap of the landing before bed. They crossed from the guest room to the end of the hall, paused by the window, where he used to check the weather, and then returned. Would flexed under weight that shouldn't exist. I waited at the midpoint of the stairs with my hand on the rail, counting each step like beats on a metronome I couldn't turn off. Then came the cough. The same rough, winter-worn cough he had in his final years. It rolled down the hall, followed by a hush that felt listening. I didn't run. I didn't call for anyone. I stood still and stared into the dark, every hair on my body straining toward a voice I knew wasn't living. He loved the armchair by the bay window, newspapers folded like small tents on the side table. Glasses set exactly 2 inches from the coaster because he said condensation was honest work. After he died, no one sat there long. It felt like borrowing a coat that still smelled like someone else. Some afternoons, without fan or draft, the cushion would sink a finger's width and hold that shape, as if a weight had briefly settled and then reconsidered. Dust floated in the beam of sunlight like startled snow. I photographed it once and felt foolish, until I saw the second picture and the depression was deeper. On a rainy morning, the curtain pulled half open by itself, just enough to reveal the quiet street. He used to do that, check the weather, comment on the stubborn clouds. Standing there, I realized how thin the veil had become. The chair wasn't just furniture. It was a ritual he refused to abandon. It wasn't just me anymore. My mother heard glass clink in the kitchen, the same polite tap he used to make to ask for more tea. She walked in and found his chipped mug waiting on the counter, rim turned toward the kettle the way he liked it. My brother swore something brushed past him in the hallway. Not cold, not warm, just present. He laughed it off until he found the shed door latched from the inside. Tools he'd left scattered suddenly returned to their hooks with the kind of order our grandfather demanded. Even our neighbor mentioned the pipe tobacco smell wafting from the porch at sundown. She teased us about our secret smoker until we told her no one here smoked. After that, she waved from the sidewalk and kept walking, eyes flicking to the porch as if it were a stage waiting for the next cue. I set up cameras, audio recorders, motion sensors that blinked like patient stars along the baseboards. If love could leave a footprint, I wanted to catch it on glass, to measure it, name it, file it in a folder that made the impossible less so. Nights of footage looked like nothing until they didn't. At 2:17 a.m., the camera by the stairs shivered without wind. The recorder on the mantel breathed a word that seemed to lean toward me through static. Home. I played it until my chest remembered how to ache. 2 nights later, another whisper. Still here. A skeptic could call it interference. I did, at first, until the grandfather clock chimed on the half hour. It hadn't worked in years. The hands hadn't moved, but the sound rolled through the house like a bell striking bone. I asked the question out loud one night. Why are you still here? The house answered in little mercies. The stove turned off when someone forgot. A window latch clicked shut before a storm. A photo frame straightened after I brushed past it. Not parlor tricks, habits carried forward. My mother told me about the promise she made at his bedside, that we would keep the house together. Maybe he held her to it. Maybe he decided to keep us to it. And if love is a duty as much as a feeling, then duty can become a tether. We're not clergy or mediums. We're a family that cooks and argues and loses our keys. But sometimes, when the porch light clicks on exactly as we pull into the drive, we say thank you, and the night seems satisfied. We made rules without saying them. Don't mock the strange things. Don't invite them either. Speak kindly in the rooms he loved. Keep the chair dusted. Win the clock even if it refuses to keep time. Honor the rituals that shaped him, and maybe he'll honor us back. On good nights, his presence feels like a blanket folded at the foot of the bed. Not covering, just there when you need it. On bad nights, the shadows pool thicker, and the upstairs hall collects silence like standing water. Both truths can live in one house. I used to think a haunting was always a threat. Now I wonder if some hauntings are a refusal to let love end. If a person can be a place and a place can be a person, then this home is both. And when the boards speak, we answer. So if you felt that familiar weight in an empty room, if a voice you loved once nudged you towards safety, tell me below. Maybe none of us are as alone as the quiet sometimes suggests. And if these stories find you in the dark, stay a while. Like, subscribe, and keep a light on for the ones who still walk with us.